you were on Tournament.
Yeah.
World Series poker.
Yeah.
I had to look that up.
Really? Oh, WSOP? You didn't know? You were like, what are you doing?
WSOP, and I'm like, WSOP.
That's funny.
Google.
I figured Asian you'd know, but no, sorry. Is that stereotype no good? I'm getting canceled now. Yeah. My brother and I ran into the store and I ended up getting a hold of my brother's gun and I shot the clerk because he had just killed my brother. And he literally said what you said, only he said 1 minute. He's like, I was a good guy my whole life and I was bad for 1 minute of my life. You just said 5, right? It's like same thing. And he's like, and now I'm in here for the rest of my life. It's like, it's really crazy when you think about how just things can change, good or bad, in the blink of an eye. We all just owe each other from page 1, and some will pay it back and some won't. Don't worry about it. Like just give. Don't worry about receiving, and you will end up receiving way more.
Hey, welcome to the Fit and Frugal podcast. I'm your host, Tawni Wynn. So today I'm super excited. I finally get Jon Orlando.
I'm here.
Hey.
I know I canceled on you, was it last month?
I'm used to it. It's fine.
I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault. I've been dealing with mom for the last, dementia is just awful. It's awful. So I had to finally put mom in a home. Sounds terrible, but it's much better. It's good for her. So.
Yeah. I came from the hospice industry when I was in my teens, wanting to connect with old people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I kind of love that.
Yeah.
That field. It's like understanding, just how there's just so much wisdom out of old people. Like when I was a bartender, like a lot of my clients are all old and retired too.
Yeah.
I just have a special connection with the elders, I guess.
That's cool.
And
I think you have a special connection with everyone, though. You're one of those people that just lights up a room and
just want to be
you feel like you've known you forever. Yeah.
Why, thanks, John.
That's
I didn't
true.
Even have to pay you to say
No, that's free. It's all true. It's all true. Yeah.
Yeah. Right before this, we were talking about robbing banks.
Yes. What a segue. Robbing banks to helping old people, which if you rob banks, you can help old people.
We're so well-rounded.
Yes, we are. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, no, but thanks for joining. I know that the last time we touched base, you were on Tournament.
Yeah.
World Series poker.
Yeah.
I had to look that up.
Really? Oh, WSOP? You didn't know? You were like, what are you doing?
WSOP, and I'm like, WSOP.
That's funny.
Google.
I figured Asian you'd know, but no, sorry. Is that stereotype no good? I'm getting canceled now. Yeah.
Why is that? Is it because a lot of Asians gamble?
Yeah.
Or is it the good at math thing?
Both.
Because I don't think I fit any of those terms.
No, you didn't get that? The good at math gene?
Just good enough to manage my own money and real estate, but not good enough to count cars. Because my memory is like a fucking goldfish.
Right.
So if I start counting cars, it's so obvious because like when I lie,
I've
been told I look like super constipated.
Really?
So when I'm trying to manipulate like an answer, I'll just like not breathe.
We're gonna have to have you at a poker game just so we can see if we can figure out if you're lying or not.
Is she holding that fart or is she lying?
Yeah. What's going on here? Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. How do you manage your like emotions and your physical being? Because poker, when I started looking it up, it's like a body language game, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's well, yesterday I wasn't very good at managing anything. I went out way too early in a tournament yesterday, but it's fun. Yeah, poker's really frustrating because it takes a lot of skill, but there's a ton of luck. But the most like true poker players, like I don't consider myself a pro by any means, but most of the pros, they won't admit how much luck is a factor in poker, and it's definitely a ton of luck. I mean, you obviously have to be good. You have to be able to manage your chip stack. And like you said, you have to keep your emotions in check, but you also have to get really lucky to win a tournament because you're going through, like this summer, I mean, I played the main event is 10,000 people. I mean, so that's crazy. In the tournaments that I did really well in over the summer, the one that I won 38,000 in one event was a $10,000 buy-in, and 643 people played in that. I kid you not. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess, out of 643 people, 600 of them were straight up savage pros. That's all they do for a living is play poker.
Yeah.
Specifically tournaments. And when I got to my table, there's like 9 people at a table. this one guy sat down, Ben Lamb. He was like the 2013 player of the year, I think, or maybe 2016 player of the year. He sat down at my table and he said hello to every single person by first name at my table except for me, because I was the only non-pro. So he sat down, he's like, hey, Jack, hey, Mike, hey, Steve, hey, Sam, and like looked at me and he just said, what's up? And then he's like, what's up, Jeff? You know, whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm doomed.
God.
I'm doomed. Like, how am I going to get through
they're
this?
buddies and shit.
They all know each other, which means they're all really good. And but somehow I managed to be the chip leader, which is kind of meaningless, but it's kind of cool for bragging rights for a minute. But I was chip leader from literally from like 11 in the morning until midnight. So like when they post like who's in the lead, the chip stack wise, it's Jon Orlando and then like Phil Ivey, who's like a legendary poker player. Yeah. Phil Hellmuth, another legendary poker player, and like all these other people underneath me, and I was on top, and then the wheels fell off around 1 a.m. and I ended up in 35th, which was still great. I mean, you know, it was a nice little payday, but first place for that was $800,000. I mean, I basically already spent that money. I mean, when I was in, chip leader from 11 till midnight, let's say, I pretty much thought, oh, I'm going to win this thing. I really did. Yeah, but didn't work out.
What's defined as a pro?
Well, I don't know if there's really a I mean, I would imagine it's just that's all you do for a living.
Yeah. Is
play. It's really hard to do though, because
it's the hobby and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to it's even the pros don't win all the tournaments, you know. Yeah. So I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do. And like I said, you got to get really lucky. Yeah. It's tough, but
How long have you been playing, John?
I've been playing since high school, which was a long time ago. Yeah. But I mean, like seriously playing, I would say like the last like 8 to 10 years.
What are some interesting things that you've run across, like with meeting all these people that are professional?
They're all degenerates.
Shut the fuck up.
They're all really smart. A lot of these poker players, they're super analytical, way more than I am. That's probably why I don't win the tournaments. Their attention to detail. Like, I've got a couple guys that kind of like unofficially like coach me, like some pros, like my buddy Jeff Madsen. And sometimes, you know, he'll ask me like, how did it go? You know, what was the hand that you went out on? You know, and I'll tell him what I had, and then he'll say like, what was the betting? How did it all unfold? I honestly can't even remember, and it's from like 7 minutes ago, and I drive him crazy because he's like, how do you not know?
Yeah,
like
I blacked
who
out,
bet,
bro.
who raised, who did this, who did that, what was their chip stack? Like, I'm always like, I can't remember, don't remember.
Brain is like a surveillance camera.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think they have like photographic memories, and they're able to process numbers and stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's crazy. Because I just assume you're at the podcast studio all the time.
Yeah.
And literally,
I'm actually rarely there. Yeah, it's like you have a better chance of seeing Haley's Comet than you do at me at the studio. But
yeah. And it's so wild because you just by meeting you, like you kind of don't know what people do, right? Like your hobbies, your interests, and all of these things. Like, how do you find balance out of that? Like, how do you wake up one day? It's like, this is what I want to do for fun. Like, have a podcast. Distribute.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. I mean, so my quick background, I did stand-up comedy for 10 years from the time I was like 22 to 32, 31. And I used to work in town a lot here in Vegas. I used to open for like Tom Jones and Paul Anka. And obviously my dad is Tony Orlando, singer. He was also in the movie That's My Boy, if you ever saw that, with Adam Sandler. My dad's in that movie. So I started by opening for him. And then it just led to all these other guys as an opening act for 10 years. Then I owned a PR firm in LA for 10 years. We worked with models, athletes, alcohol brands, casinos, energy drinks. Then I was in the tech space for like 5 years, but it wasn't really my thing.
Yeah, you don't look like a tech dude.
No.
Tech bro. Yeah.
And then I kind of missed in 2017. I was like, felt like I was starting over in life, whatever. I was like, what am I going to do? And I didn't necessarily want to go back to stand-up because I wasn't really funny. So that's a problem, if you're trying to be a comedian, you need to be funny. It's like, it's really the number one thing on the list. It's the only thing on the list.
It's the only qualification.
It's the only thing you need to be. And so that wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But I thought, podcasting seemed like that could be kind of a fun thing, and you don't need anyone to tell you, okay, you can be a podcaster, right? All you need is to get the equipment and the microphones and a place to do it, and you're a podcaster, right?
You know, your own approval.
Yeah. So when I started doing Action Junkeez, that was in 2017, and then I kind of knew that I wanted to try to expand like the Junkeez name. So I'm Action Junkeez, but I knew back in 2017 is someday there'd be sports junkies, car junkies, movie junkies, yoga junkies, everything junkies. And right now I think we've got maybe 9 shows. We've got fitness junkies, political junkies, Vegas junkies, bizarre junkies, gridiron junkies, the football show. I know I probably missed some, and whoever hosts the show that I missed is going to send me a message when they see this
what
clip.
The fuck?
Yeah, but yeah, that's the goal right now is to get maybe 50 different shows up and running that we own.
Yeah.
And then we've got the studio here in Vegas. We just opened one in Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah.
Opening one in Dallas, and hopefully all over. Yeah.
How many are you looking to expand to in the next few years?
I want to try to open like 50 to 100 of these in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Studios, just in every name a city. Nashville, LA, Toronto, Vancouver, Dubai. I mean, I want to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a great business model, and I really believe, everyone. It's funny, when I was at the tech company, we were a mobile app development company, is what we did. And my pitch to people, this is back in 2010, is I would say, I met with all the casinos here. I remember I met with the Hard Rock in Vegas, which is now Virgin. But and I told the marketing guy there, I said, you will have an app. This hotel will have an app in the next 12 to 18 months. You just don't know it yet. This is what, think back to 2010, like apps were really a new thing, And he thought I was crazy. I was absolutely right. And I say the same thing about podcasts. Only now I say, if you have an Instagram or a TikTok page and you're active on it, you will most likely have your own podcast in the next 12 to 18 months. You just may not know it yet. But
that's what you said to me.
I did say that to you, right? Then boom.
You're like, how do you not have your own podcast?
Yeah,
Like,
here you are. Yeah.
Remember when I first met you? I'm like, this is my first time here. I've never been on a podcast.
Yeah. You were on fire. You came on our 24-hour podcast. That was like the next day or a couple days later, right?
We just met. You're like, hey, you want to podcast? I'm like,
You were so good. Like that was a good that was a good segment.
Into existence like 6 months later.
See? Yeah. It's fun, right?
Yeah, it is fun. I think it's one not even just like creative outlet, but it becomes more therapeutic.
Sure.
And it kind of just highlights like life is not just a fucking highlight reel to where you shoot talking head content or whatever, but people have real conversations about things that it's just about life, Yeah. And you don't really have to just pick a thing and just talk about like food or something.
Right.
Maybe like a real estate junkies and
it's coming.
So yeah?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be your host for Real Estate Junkies?
Evan Bellman.
Who is he?
My realtor.
Your realtor?
Yeah.
It's a little biased.
But he's great. He's really great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every category and then junkies,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. Wait till you start making money with it. You're gonna really be hooked. Or maybe you already are making some money.
Yeah, no, that's something that I need to work on.
It just takes time.
Yeah.
But you'll get there. You have it.
It's understanding the monetization that's not just doing it for money, but finding that first holistic dollar to like, hey, I found what I love to do.
Right.
How do I create with it and also flow in the abundance of monetary currency with it?
Yeah.
And first, like, everyone's like, just bring value first.
Yep.
Like, that's just how we always think. It's like, how can I be of service to someone? And how does this person or your energy or my energy or whatever message, like, make an impact on at least one person?
Yeah.
Have them just think differently.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of basis of, like, that stuckness, right? I was like, I don't know what to do with my life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do before this?
Hospitality.
Okay.
Did events, a lot of ass kissing.
Yeah.
I bartended for 10 years, so a lot of...
Here in Vegas?
No, in Orange County.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally different fields. I don't know. And now that I'm half in real estate and half like finding my space in the creative content world, I guess I love it. I just don't know anything about it, so I feel like a fucking fish out of water.
No, what do you need to know?
Just algorithm and all of these things. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, put it out there.
Do it, yeah.
Dark mode. Yeah. Yeah. So what have you been finding? Because you went through a lot of spaces and seasons of life too. And obviously no, tech is not for you.
Yeah.
Like, how did you transition through all of that stuff and how has it changed you as a person?
Tech, I just kind of fell into, after the PR firm. So we had a really successful PR firm for 10 years in LA. we worked with like NFL Hall of Famers and UFC fighters and big baseball players and tons of models, playmates. We threw, we also produced special events. So we threw events at the Playboy Mansion 7 times, Sundance Film Festival, Kentucky Derby, the Super Bowl. We produced the Best Damn Sports Show Super Bowl party back in whenever maybe the Giants, Eli Manning beat was it the Patriots? Yeah, maybe. Right? Patriots? Yeah. Yeah, I had to look at the guy on set. Sorry.
Look at the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know him too.
Validated me, yes. But yeah, so we had Chris Rock perform at that event. It was like a $2 million budget event, So we were in the event space, which it's tough. It's the sponsors are never happy. No one's ever happy. It's never good enough. Whatever it was you did, PR was kind of a thankless job. Like you could get someone on I won't say a name, but like I got a girl on the cover of Maxim.
Yeah.
And she said, all you did for me this month was the cover of Maxim. I mean, I don't even know what to, I don't even know what to say to that. Right.
Oh my God.
Like what's the comeback other than go fuck yourself? Like, I don't even know what
LA sense of entitlement right there.
Seriously. I mean, it's just crazy, So, but anyway, if you remember, like the economy tanked back in maybe 07, whatever that was, and we slowly kind of tanked with it. And by the time 2010, like we downsized from the office to a smaller office to a home office. Like I was renting a 3-bedroom apartment and using it as office space, and the employees were coming over at like 9 a.m.,
It's like you're running a brothel and shit.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, it was like, it's funny you say that because like we represented a lot of playmates and like Maxim girls and stuff. And it's like the guard gate must have thought, what is going on? This guy's a pimp or something. Like, what is going on?
Kind of look like a pimp.
Right.
So what did I call you over text? I'm like, you look like a fugitive.
Yeah. A fugitive, yeah. I do look like I'm on the run today.
Your outfit.
I had a crazy morning. Can I just tell you about my morning?
Yeah.
So I'm up really early. I get up at like you'll see when you get my age. I'm 53 now. When you get old, you feel like you're on the back 9 of life. Like the last half of your life, you get up earlier. Because you're like, I just want to be up and be alive longer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm up at like 5 or 6 o'clock, no alarm every single day, no matter what. And I usually play chess on my phone like an old man, I know, whatever, for like the first hour that I'm awake. So I sit, we have in our house, it's a 2-story house. It's not like a proper like home theater, but it's got like comfy chairs and stuff, a big giant flat, 86-inch TV, whatever. So I'm sitting in there. And we have 2 cats, and one of the cats is going bananas. She's running around like a lunatic. And it's not normally like her. And she knocked over, like we had some picture frames that we haven't hung yet on the walls in the theater. And she knocked one of them over. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I saw she was playing with something like by the staircase. I'm like, what do you have? And I look, a fucing mouse was in the house. This little fucking cute little fucking mouse that she was trying to murder. I don't know how it got in. And I really don't know how it got to the 2nd floor, which is a little alarming because the stairs are wood. Like there's no way he could have gone up the stairs. So he must have come from like outside in from the top. God. I don't even know. So just as I realized what she was doing, she whacks him, knocks him over so he falls, hits the stairs, then falls between the stairs onto the floor. And I watched this mouse run under the couch as the cat runs down the stairs and tries to catch it. Couldn't catch it. And I ended up leaving the house. But I had to go. Like I sat there for an hour trying to figure out like how can I get it's a really big L-shaped couch. It's too big for me to move. Vanessa, my girlfriend, was sleeping. So like, what the fuck am I gonna do? The cat can't get under the couch because it's too low.
Yeah.
So like there's just this mouse. Like so finally when she woke up, when my girlfriend woke up, I was like, hey, I had a kind of a crazy morning. There's a mouse in the house somewhere. Let me know how it goes. So
good luck.
I don't know what's going on at home. Yeah.
You throw her into like a fucking Hunger Games thing.
Right? Yeah.
What did they say? May the odds be in your favor. Bye.
Yeah. It was such a good movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So there's a mouse in the house somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? I don't know why I shared that with you, but
no, that's really funny because all I envisioned the whole fucking time was like some Tom and Jerry shit.
It's literally, I was trying to make a video.
Yeah.
Because I thought she'd get the mouse out and then we'd see the kill, and I have it on video for the gram and TikTok and a million views, right? And then people can say how I helped murder the mouse.
I woke up and played chess. Like, there's a fucking house.
Yeah. But I literally was like, it's like Tom and Jerry. It's like an episode. I literally said on the video, I'm like, it's like an episode of Tom and Jerry, but the mouse never showed up. So we just had crazy. Tom. Yeah, we had Tom, no Jerry. Yeah.
You look like this guy that's also going, like
he's
seeing
losing
shit.
his mind. Yeah, yeah.
It's like, John, you're aging a bit. You're playing chess.
Yeah.
You're seeing shit, you know?
Would not think a mouse could get in. I don't know.
Yeah. Was it like a black, white, or?
He was like black and tan. He was
cute.
Yeah, he was really cute.
But
yeah, I was thinking about that. But yeah, and I was like trying to.
Things like,
I was like, I'll catch him when he comes out. I was like, how am I going to catch him? I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I see you. I mean, obviously, like go to UFC shows and stuff, and I would think you would like go to your first instinct as a dude, like trying to catch it yourself with your bare hands.
No, I'm
Very
not that
animalistic.
dumb. It's weird. So like a month ago, I posted. I was coming home from poker at Encore, so I make a right on the Spring Mountains. I'm over by Fashion Show Mall, and it's kind of drizzling out. And I look at I'm in traffic, and I look on my dashboard on inside the car. Well, I wasn't sure if it was inside or not. It was a grasshopper. I fucking hate bugs. Like, I don't do bugs, especially bugs that hop or fly. Not for me. So I'm like, is that inside the car or not? So I turn on the wipers to see, and like didn't move. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's inside the car. So I was on the phone with Vanessa. I'm like, hey, I got to go. There's a grasshopper in the car. I hang up with her and I launched the video, because I'm like, at least let's get something out of this, So I'm driving. So I'm like, I'm going to pull into the parking lot. I'm videoing the grasshopper like right on the dashboard. And I'm like, I pull in the parking lot. Second I put it in park, this motherfucker just flies like at me. I freak out. I jump out of the car. I'm like, I posted this on Instagram. I jump out of the car and I'm like, what the fuck? How am I going to get this grasshopper out of here? Like, I know I sound like a total fucking pussy, but I'm telling you, I have bugs and it's weird. Lizards, snakes, the mouse, no problem.
Yeah.
But you put a spider, a fucking roach, a grasshopper, praying mantis. If there's a praying mantis in my house, I put it up for sale. I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't even deal with it. I can't even deal with it.
I know how to get him out of your house.
So I get out of the car and I'm videoing it, and he's on the center console between the two front seats. And literally, as I'm like, oh, there he is, he fucking flies. You can see it on video. It's on my Instagram. He flies towards me. I freak out. I start to backpedal, and I end up like falling down backwards. I landed so hard that the thumbnail on the video, it says, iPhone has detected a crash. Like, it literally thought like I was in a crash. So I screenshot that, and I just had, it wasn't these, but I had the fucking Travis Scott Jordans on, ruined from impact. Like, they got all scuffed and fucked up. Oh, it's traumatic. You're laughing at me.
I'm laughing.
It was awful. But yeah, so bugs I don't do, but a mouse, no big deal. It didn't freak. Like, he was cute. Like, I wouldn't try to pick him up, just to, like you said, because he could bite you. Like,
you have some weird
bitten, but
disease.
Yeah, we live like right up against the mountain. Like in Summerlin, and we've seen foxes.
Oh yeah, a lot of coyotes.
But like a cute little fox too. Bunnies, and then big jackrabbits. Like, we have all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I was just thinking how you say you don't do bugs, like, the Fear Factor style. Like, it'd be fucking hilarious. You have like a bugs junkie.
Yeah.
And then put you in the fucking box.
I'm out. No.
Watch you freak out. Like, you against like the one fucking grasshopper.
We represented a girl that won 50 grand on Fear Factor.
Really?
Yeah, her name was Tammy Sheffield, and she had to eat like a bowl of like fucking maggots. I don't know how she did it. I couldn't do it. 50 grand's not enough. Would you do it?
No.
What's the number? 300,000. Do you do it?
Is it like alive? Like, is it moving?
Living, moving maggots. 3 of them. How much for you to eat 3 maggots?
I'd do it for like just 10x that. $500,000, 3 bugs, not bad.
$500,000?
Yeah.
So if you do it for $500,000, you do it for 400,000. If you do it for 400,000,
dead bugs.
If you do it for 400,000, you pretty much 350,000.
Because you're just lowering the fucking number, right?
But you would.
Yeah.
If you do it for 350, $250,000, 250,000 is a lot of money.
For 3 maggots.
For 3 maggots, right?
What would
really,
you
at the end of the day, $100,000.
You're just going back to 50K now.
I know. I could get you. I was going to take it all the way down to 10.
Yeah, you're going to take like what's the lowest?
I couldn't do it though.
Yeah.
Not
for $1 million?
Fuck yeah. For $1 million, I'll shoot my own uncle dead. Just kidding. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't even know if I honestly. You're gonna think I'm nuts. I don't know if I could eat a bowl of broccoli for $5,000.
Broccoli's delicious.
It's not. Do you put cheese on it? All like melted?
No, I just steam broccoli and I eat it.
Steamed broccoli is delicious. Yeah, we're so far apart.
We're so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, would you eat like broccoli cheddar soup because it's pretty much a bowl of cheese?
Just for free, like for fun?
As a meal?
As a meal, no.
No.
I hate veggies.
Oh, you hate veggies?
Hate veggies. Specifically broccoli. I go to Panda Express and I'll get beef and broccoli. And I beg them no broccoli. Sometimes I beg them like, I'll pay you extra. Just pick out just the beef. Just don't. He's like, I can't do it. I'm like, I'll pay extra. I don't care. Like, what do I need to do? Just I don't want the broccoli.
That'd be good. If we go to Panda Express together, I'll eat your broccoli.
Eat the broccoli.
I'll eat the broccoli.
Okay, deal.
I'm happy with that.
All right, I'm in.
That's a good compromise.
We go to lunch. That's where we'll go. You eat the broccoli. I'll eat the beef.
It's like, what I have today, I had broccoli.
Right, yeah.
John didn't give me any beef, but it's fine.
I'll throw you a couple pieces.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I need a couple pieces of beef.
That's so funny. Yeah, like when you have people on your podcast, right? Like when you first started to now, like what do you notice is like the biggest change in you as a podcaster on how your communication styles and stuff have changed?
I don't know if it's changed that much just because I had such a background with being on the microphone, at least like from stand up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I grew up in showbiz, so I feel I'm not saying I haven't gotten better, or I don't mean it like that, but I kind of feel like I'm still the same person from the beginning to now. Although, I mean, truth be told, sure, I hated the first 3 episodes, like watching myself, and I was like, what are you doing? But
I've done the same thing. I'm like, man, did I sound like?
Well, yeah, and you don't realize how in the beginning you forget how many times you say or there you go. There's another
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like I know a lot of people edit those out.
Yeah.
We don't at the studio. We just encourage people like just do it as it is.
Yeah.
And you police yourself. Learn to police yourself on and
Yeah. Verbal fillers is a big thing.
And and saying like.
Yeah. Before Sean pointed out like the first, 6, 7 episodes, like I listen with my eyes, but I also affirm it with my voice. So it's I'm always like, mm-hmm. And now I stop and I just do it with the eyes and I just do it with the body. Right. Because even with teaching communications, like you can teach other people, but I couldn't teach myself until I started witnessing myself go through these modalities that I teach 18-year-olds. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like we use commas as Yeah. Right? It's like that's the comma for us, or the pause. Right. You could just pause. You don't have to
when it's quiet.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why are you staring at me? I'm like, I don't have anything to say in this moment.
Like, I got nothing. I'm just waiting. I'm just chilling. I'm on simmer, bro.
I'm being, I'm idling. I'm existing. What do you want me to do? Like, because there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable with silence that they just try to fill it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, so what do you think of this? I'm like, you don't need the small talk. Like, we can just hang out.
Yeah.
We can just vibe.
The one thing I've definitely learned from doing the podcast over the last 7 years or whatever it's been, something like that, is I'm not afraid. In the beginning, I would base my guest off of what I felt we deserved, and that was a big mistake. Meaning, like, for example, I've known Dana White for 9 years. I didn't ask him to be... It's funny. So I get him on the podcast last, October. We got to episode 198 of the podcast, and I came in and I told the guys, I'm like, I have an idea. Episode 200, Dana White. Everyone's like, yes, can you get him? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty confident I can get him. I see him all the time at the fights, and we had a really good relationship, but we don't hang out socially, or at least not at that point. We hadn't in 8 years of knowing him, but gives me tickets to the fights, never says no. He's always so nice. He's one of the nicest guys in the world. So I come to so it was literally like a year ago around right this time. So Dana White Contender Series runs from August to October. That's Tuesday night fights where guys are trying to fight their way into the UFC. Super exciting.
Yeah.
So Tuesday comes and we're on episode 198. So I tell the guys, when I go to the fight tonight, I'll talk to Dana. I'll ask him to be on the show. So I go to the fight. I see Dana. I'm like, hey, Dana, how you doing? We talk about the fights. I chicken out. I don't know. I just couldn't do it. I just chickened out. I chickened out. Okay. So now we put up episode 199 and the guys are like, dude, when you go to the fight next Tuesday, you have got to ask Dana because we're on 199. Like, he's got to come in and do the show. Like, this is it. I'm like, I got it. Don't worry. I got it. I go to the fight. I see Dana. We're talking, shooting the shit. I don't know. I got to block Tawni. I don't know. I got to block. I couldn't do it. Couldn't ask him. So now they're like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to put up 200. I'm like, nope, I have an idea. We're going to put up 199.1. And then the following week, I'm still not going to ask him. I'm telling you now, I'm not going to ask him because I purposely want to put out 199.2. Then I'm going to go to him and use comedy to get it. So like, what? I'm like, you'll see. So we've got 199.2 is up. I go to the fight. I say, Dana, I got episode 200 of my podcast coming up next week. He's like, wow, congrats. I go, no, hold on. You're going to be the guest, episode 200. And he's looking at me and I open up Spotify. I'm like, look, man, I was supposed to ask you this at episode 198 and I chickened out. So we put up 199 and I chickened out. And then the last 2 weeks I chickened out, 199.1, 199.2. I said, Dana, I will go to 199.199 if that's what it takes. Yeah. You will be the guest on episode 200.
Yeah.
He starts laughing. He's like, all right, I'm in. So he comes in the studio and I open up my opening line to my two co-hosts. I say, guys, we started this, 5-6 years ago. We dreamt of the day we would have Dana White on, and today is that day. I couldn't even finish. And he says, whoa. You just asked me to do this for the first time a week ago. And he taught me, meaning, had you asked me 5 years ago, I would have done it.
Yeah.
And I always looked at it like, I want to earn a set of stripes. I want to wait until we deserve it, or wait till it's not like a waste of his time, or wait till at least we're worthy. And that was a big mistake, because obviously, if I would have had, by the way, you have Dana White on your show, the numbers were 40 times what our normal show does.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone slid into my DMs saying, hey, saw the podcast with Dana, great job, keep it up. And then we got Grant on the show. Yeah. All these amazing things happen. Dana was kind enough to share it a couple times on his Instagram. And, it just taught me the lesson of don't put yourself in a box and think that you're not worthy. It's nice that you would do that, right? It's it's nice that I'm aware of not abusing a relationship with Dana or asking him to do a show that's new or whatever. But the flip side is you have to use the network of people that you have, and you have to, move yourself down the field. Who knows where I would be in my podcast life had I had Dana on 5 years ago, and this
episode 100 or something,
or episode 10 even, and maybe again on episode 80, and then again at one, he would have been on 3 times by now, and who knows what that would have done and all the other cool things that would have brought, so it's don't think that you're too small for anyone. Shoot the shot, take a shot at it. Why not?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest hesitation too, because I'm like, who the fuck is going to want to talk to me? But
you'd be surprised.
People are asking me, hey, can you interview me? What? Really?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if this has happened for you yet, but in the 6 or 7 years I'm doing this, I can only think of one time where I asked someone, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? I can only think of literally one time where the answer was maybe how many people listen. Most people never ask me. Most people they probably look at the Instagram, because usually I'm DMing them, maybe they look at the Instagram, whatever, and they just make a decision based on how your social media looks. I've literally never had anyone say, how many listeners do you have? I've only had one guy, I won't say his name, but I've only had one guy, and he's not famous.
Oh.
He's not even famous. He's known in the world that he's in.
Uh-huh. You're being very vague.
Yeah, he's in the poker world. Yeah. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But not a big name, not at all. It's just kind of surprising. I mean, I've had Bob Saget on, obviously before he passed away. I've had Russell Peters, comedian. I've had tons of fighters. I've had Bruce Buffer. I've had tons of big names, good people, No one ever asks how many listen.
Wow.
Yeah. They don't care. I think they like they get it. Most people get it now. It doesn't matter how many listen, because all you need is that one good moment, that one amazing clip that goes viral. And that can happen with anyone that you're talking to if the story is good enough,
Yeah. Or that one message that actually just truly helps someone.
Right. Have you met Adam Clausen at our studio yet?
No.
So you need to have Adam on. Okay. So Adam's a perfect example of that you could go viral a non-famous person, you know, or a non-influencer even. Adam was sentenced to 213 years in prison. This guy, Adam Clausen. Can you imagine? 213 years. I met him last year, maybe a year and a half ago, at the welcome dinner for Sheriff McMahill, our new sheriff here in Vegas. And Adam knew my friend Dave. You know David Kohlmeyer? You were on his show? Okay. So David Kohlmeyer brings me to this welcome dinner. Yeah. Up in Summerlin at Queensbridge.
Because he was a cop. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so this guy in a suit, tall, handsome guy, walks up to Dave, talks to him for 2 minutes. Dave introduced me. John, this is Adam. Adam, John. Adam walks away. And then Dave says, that guy just got out of prison. He was in for 20 years. I go, what guy? He goes, that guy you just met. I go, the guy in the suit? He's like, yeah. I said, 20 years? I said, oh my God, like he embezzled millions. Mm-hmm. And he says, no, violent crime. I go, that guy you just introduced me to? He says, yeah. I'm like, he looks like a congressman. He looks like a CEO. He's like, what? But that guy's violent? He's like, well, he used to be. From the time he was 18 to 24, this guy, Adam Clausen, committed a ton of armed robberies. This was back in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. He'd like rob like an underground illegal casino, knowing they had a bunch of money, or a dispensary or things like that. Yeah. And he ends up getting caught when he was 24 years old, and they throw the book at him, 213 years. But he did all the right things when he was incarcerated. Yeah. And he got involved in this program called like the Compassionate Release Program. I'll let him tell a story to you, but the bottom line is he served 20 of a 213-year sentence. He's an amazing person. He's got incredible stories, and he changed the way I look at. I used to say, like, if you do a home invasion of some old people or a family or whatever, like, fuck you. Like, we don't need you. Lock them up, throw away the key. Those people don't change. That's what I used to think until I met Adam Clausen, and I've realized, like, I've been wrong my whole life of like, you can't put a stereotype, you can't put people in a box like that and just say because you did X means Y. Yeah. It doesn't mean that for everyone. Yeah. You know, people can change. They can make themselves better. And they can learn a lesson. Yeah. And Adam is that guy. I'll introduce him. You'd have a nice conversation with him. But I had him on the show, and the clips got hundreds of thousands of views. Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. Because people attach the action to the person as like an identity or something. For sure. It's like, you are this because you did X, Y, and Z. So for sure. You are that. Like that thing, that feeling or whatever that you are left with. Right. Yeah. And I really do like that, because I do believe in second chances for people. Yeah. Coming from California, I've been seeing a lot of people are sending me all these homeless and all that stuff. You're like, yeah, you do all your philanthropy and all this stuff. Your state's going to turn to a communist state. And I'm like, whatever, I'm out. Yeah. You know, and you came from LA too, and you can see that problem, and it's crazy to be a part of the solution, or you don't want to be a part of the problem anymore. Right. It's just people saying like, we need change, we need this, and I'm like, fuck you. Like my tax dollars weren't going anywhere. Yeah. And that whole entire state is so different. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Every day I feel like I'm watching a video of a bunch of guys walking into like a Gucci store or whatever in Beverly Hills or wherever. Like robbing. And just robbing, or, you know, same thing in San Francisco. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, I'm sure it happens everywhere, and we just see but maybe it doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, I don't know if it happens in Texas, I don't know if it happens in Arizona. Well, everyone's carrying there, so it's going to be like a real fucking Western movie or something. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like really powerful that you even allow yourself to acknowledge that he changed the perspective of how you look at life and how you view people. Yeah. Because not a lot of people can identify with the fact that someone can change, right? Because originally, like how you're saying, like, oh, everyone's a degenerate or whatever, but I just figured a leopard doesn't change his spots, right? Yeah. But they do. Yeah, like what's your take on that? Like, how has that perspective shift like changed how you contribute or your output into the world? Yeah, I mean, it's you talk to enough people on podcasts and you start hearing everyone's life story, and you just realize like everyone's path is different. Life's tough, man. Even for people that you don't think it's tough for, they struggle with something. Yeah. Like no one gets off free. I mean, that's why people like Robin Williams commit suicide, or what's his name from Linkin Park? Chester. Chester. Yeah. Right. These people that you think, he's great. I mean, like how could it be so wrong? You know, what could be so bad? You know, but you just never know what someone's going through. I had a buddy last year. He committed suicide. This guy's company was making $12 million a month.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, and I get it. Money doesn't solve everything, but it's like still in my head, I can't get like, how does it not solve that? Like, how did it not?
Yeah.
Like how could it be so bad if you've conquered such a? Do you know what it is to make $12 million a month?
Yeah.
12 million in a lifetime is amazing. 1 million in a lifetime is amazing.
Yeah. It's a goal that most people want to have, right?
And like to think that guy had, you know, I don't even know, 200, 300 employees. And it wasn't enough. Like something was missing in his life to go, and he had 2 kids, like to go to that degree of just finality is just, it really makes you appreciate you know, what you do have, or like with my mom, you know, it's like, you know, dementia, it's like a bitch. Like this, my mom was so funny, so witty, so smart. She worked for Elvis back in the day. She was friends with James Dean. Like my mom has crazy stories. And like I never put her on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so regretful that I didn't do that because now she's not even capable of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, it would have been so much fun. Like when I first started, like, what was I thinking? Like I should have just had my mom on just for the fuck of it, even though it's off brand or not it doesn't make sense for Action Junkeez, but who cares? Like I should have sat and done it, you know? So I mean, it just really makes you, when you hear like an Adam Clausen story and then you just think that guy got locked up for 20 years. I mean, think about all that you've done the last 20 years of your life, and his was just in a cell.
Yeah.
Like asking permission to eat, pee, whatever, right? Like it's just really, obviously he did things that he deserved to be there.
Yeah.
But you know, when you think about what that is for someone's life and then how that affected all of his family members, right? It's like it doesn't just affect him, right? There was a mother and a father that had to go without a son. There's so many dynamics to what your actions can do to others. Yeah. You have to remember it's not just you with whatever you do in life.
I think I saw someone post something about this guy that went to prison, and his lesson that I found really impactful for me, he was just like, he lost his ways in 5 minutes because he was just like, from the moment that he was at a bar to someone like disrespecting him and he pulled out a gun or something like that, he lost 20 years with his kids, his wife, his family, and just like you said, his actions of not being in control of his emotions in 5 minutes. That's how you get punished. They take away the time that you have, which is our most valuable asset. It's not even the money. Like, take all that money. I don't give a fuck, you know?
It's so interesting that you say that. My dad, back in the 70s, when my dad was like super famous in the 70s, and he went and performed at a prison, and he was talking to some of the inmates, and the one guy had a similar story to exactly what you just said. This guy was in there for life, for murder. And my dad was like, do you mind talking about it? Like, my dad was fascinated. Like, how did you, like, because he seemed like such a nice guy. And he said, Tony, I was at a gas station and I was pumping gas and I didn't know my brother was going in to rob the store. I had no idea. My brother goes in to rob the store and the clerk ended up shooting my brother. And I ran into the store and I ended up getting a hold of my brother's gun and I shot the clerk because he had just killed my brother. And he literally said what you said. Only he said 1 minute. He's like, I was a good guy my whole life and I was bad for 1 minute of my life. You just said 5, right? It's like same thing. And he's like, and now I'm in here for the rest of my life. It's like, it's really crazy when you think about how just things can change, good or bad, in the blink of an eye.
Intentional or not, too.
Right.
Because you don't just intentionally, want to kill someone.
Yeah. Or like these kids. Did you see these kids that just ran over the Vegas cop? He was riding his bike. You see this? It was yesterday. It was all over social media yesterday. It's 2 guys in a car, literally driving down, I don't know what highway they were on. This guy, a former cop, or he was either a former cop or a current cop, I'm not positive, was riding his bike on like the shoulder, and they're literally, the passenger's videoing it, and the driver goes, you ready? He's like, yeah, do it. And they literally, on video, just drive right into this cop. The cop goes up and over, and they killed him. Senseless. So senseless.
What the
And these 2 kids ruined this guy's life, obviously, all his family, all his friends, and their own. Yeah. Assuming they're going to get caught. I don't know if they've gotten caught yet. Yeah. But they will get caught. I mean, I would imagine, but it's like, for what?
Yeah. Because a lot of things that we've been saying kind of put things into perspective.
Yeah.
Because I just visited my girlfriend, who who her brother also just committed suicide like a few months back, and we grew up and she was like, there was no signs or anything. I'm like, yeah, suicidal depression is not fake. Like, it's not a thing that people talk about enough.
Right.
That's why it's called an awareness for a reason, because you really don't know what the hell goes on in people's head. Like,
even the happiest,
like, you think
people.
we have it bad at times, right? But you actually don't know what people's like sense of fulfillment drives them, what kind of void they have to face, which is the demons, all of that, you know, because I feel like we all go through that, and our ego wants us to feel like we have it the worst. But when you hear certain stories like that, how people's life changes in like a minute, to where I can't, like, I'm too soft for prison. Like, I'm be a fucking mop in prison, you know?
Well, you're not going to be a mop in prison. I'm not going to tell you what you would be in prison. Come on, you'd be like the most popular inmate. You'd be wifed up real quick.
I'm not the way I want to be wifed up.
No, but yeah.
Oh my God.
You need to stay out of prison. Don't go to prison.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's keep me out of prison.
Not a good spot for you. Yeah.
No, I like my life. I love my life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade.
Have you ever been arrested?
When I was 16, yes.
I like how you wanted to qualify it. You didn't want to just say yes. You wanted to make it clear you were young and dumb.
I was young and dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Some shoplifting.
Really?
Dumb shit. Just got some cuffs thrown on me.
Okay.
I did some like really funny stuff that was on my records. So when I was trying to get a CCW in California.
Really?
They looked me up. I didn't know the statute of limitation went that long, because I thought it was 5 years. They're like, oh, and can you tell us this citation for a misdemeanor in 2012? I'm like, like what? Yeah, it was a public nudity citation.
Really?
It's so funny.
Like Mardi Gras, like flashing people or something? Or?
No, I wish it was something that fun. But so in Orange County, there's these coffee shops.
Right.
You like wear a bikini and work.
Okay.
So it's just bikini, heels, whatever. I just walk around the beach like that. Yeah, just like that. And there was a raid because it's actually gambling rinks.
Oh.
So I used to work in those when I was like 18, 19. Right when I dropped out of college, I'm like, what's the fastest way besides selling drugs that I can make cash fast? And that's what I did. And then I got caught or whatever, because I didn't know the one that I worked at the time was like this huge like gambling.
Really?
And like, I want to say like human trafficking, like all these weird shit that was happening. So like the fucking cops came in, like pinned us to the wall.
Yeah.
And gave me a citation. I went to court and I had to explain to the judge I wasn't naked. I was like, I was wearing a bikini. Like the other girls were like topless because there's like different pay grades.
So you were like guilty by association.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So I'm like, dude, I'm the lowest fucking paid person there because I'm wearing a bikini. All these girls had their pasties and they're naked, they're bottomless, whatever, they're full nudes. Like they get paid $50, $60 an hour. And at the time in 2010, that's a lot of money per hour for a girl. That's not a stripper.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so I had to try to explain that while I was trying to get a fucking gun from California. They're like, can you explain this? I'm like, funny story.
Funny story.
What had happened was...
Oh my God.
So I wish I had a funny, like, wild story. I'm like, nah, I was just trying to make money, man. And I got a public nudity ticket slapped on my wrist.
And that's on your record forever?
And now I had to go to probation and I had to just admit to being guilty or some shit. Okay. So they just throw me on probation. And during those months, I'm like, that means I can't do anything stupid for 6 months?
Right. Counting the days when you can do something stupid, just in case.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to know you can do something stupid and you're not really going to fuck yourself up.
And all my friends, you know, back then, they were all trapping and all of these things that are super illegal, paid tons of money. And I'm like, I can't do anything because I don't want to go to actual prison.
Too funny.
So that's like my one funny story of like the one cool thing that I did in my 20s that, like, have you ever been arrested?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were...
The same stupid shit. I got arrested for failure to appear from a tinted windows ticket. I got a tinted windows ticket in like 2003 in LA. Took the tint off so in LA, here you could have your windows tinted because of the heat and stuff. But in LA, you can only have the rear windows.
You need 5% max or something, right?
Yeah, but you can't do the driver's side.
Yeah.
Or the front. But I did. And so I took the tint off, but I guess you still have to go to like the sheriff's station and have them sign off that they... So I didn't do that. So I paid the ticket, got the tint removed, but I never went to the sheriff's station. I didn't realize that I had to do that. Mm-hmm. And like 4 years later, I pulled into a gas station and I opened the door to get out, you know, and I hear I see like the lights flashing out of the corner of my eye and I hear, get out of the car, get on the ground now. and I was with an employee. It was her first day working with me, and I was bringing her to. It was nighttime. So this is back when we had the PR firm. So we worked with a guy named Maurice Green, who was fastest man in the world at the time, Olympic gold medalist, sprinter in the 100-meter, and we were going to Johnny Gill's birthday party. You know who Johnny Gill is? God, you're too young. Famous singer. He was in the band New Edition, with group New Edition with Bobby Brown back in the day. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to Johnny Gill's birthday party at the Lucky Strike Bowling Alley on Hollywood and Highland in LA, in Hollywood. And so I'm in the gas station, literally right next door to this bowling alley. I was just going to fill up the tank and stuff. And so I remember turning to her and go, oh God, something's about to go down. You know, like the cops are looking for someone here. Yeah, you know. So I'm literally looking out the windshield. I'm like, who's he talking to? You know, and he's like, in the black Mercedes, get out of the car, get on the ground now. And I was like, me? And he's like, yeah, you. I'm like, oh shit. So he's like, put your hands up. I'm like, I put my hands up. He goes, get on your knees. I'm on my knees. He's like, face the car. I'm like, I am facing the car. He's like, your car. I'm like, oh, okay. So I fucking shimmy around. And by the time I'm facing my car, I guess his partner had already come up on me. I didn't even realize it. He's like, Jon Orlando? I'm like this. He says, Jon Orlando? I go, yeah. And he grabs my arm, puts it behind my back, the other one behind my back, and he goes, you're under arrest. And I go, for what? He's like, there's a warrant out for your arrest. And I go, impossible. There's no way. Like, for what? Yeah. He's like, I don't know. And he says, do you have your ID, your license on you? I said, yeah, it's in my, in the car, in the center console, my wallet. So he's like, no, first I go, yeah, it's in my left front pocket. So he's like, can I get it? And I go, yeah. And he goes, he's like, there's nothing there in your pocket. I'm like, oh, sorry, I was nervous. You know, it's in the console in the car. So do I have permission? I go, yeah. So he goes to get it. There's nothing there. He's like, it's not there. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's in the trunk in my inside jacket pocket. Sorry, you got me all fucked up. Opens up the trunk. There's no jacket. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. I had the jacket on. I flew in from New York that day. So I'm like, I flew in from New York. I had a jacket on. I went straight to bowling, and I hate jackets. They bug me. So I took the jacket off. I forgot my wallet was in it. It's on my bed at home. He's like, so you have no idea? I said, well, I have a stack of business cards in the ashtray. Yeah. And he goes, a business card is not a form of ID. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, you're the one that told me who I was. Remember? Yeah. You walked up to me. You said, Jon Orlando. I said, yeah. So if there was a time to lie, wouldn't it have been then? Yeah. Jon Orlando? No. Nope. Pete like, Smith. Nice try. Yeah. So anyway, he puts me in the cop car, and I'm like, what did I do? And he gets on the computer, and he's looking it up, and he says, it looks like you had an FTA back in March of 2003. And I said, I don't know what FTA is. He goes, failure to appear. I said, oh, for what? And he goes, looks like, did you get a tinted windows ticket? I'm like, oh, yeah. I start laughing. I'm like, yeah, but I took the tint. I'm like, there, you can see the car, 3 years later, no tint. And I was like, can I go? And he's like, no, you're going to jail tonight. And I go, what? You're going to take me to jail? And they took me to jail.
What the fuck?
4 hours I did. Hard time, 4 hours. Ooh. Yeah, 4 hours.
Damn, that was some hard time you served right there.
Yeah. But it wasn't fun. 4 hours felt like forever. I can't even imagine. Like, like people do something just horrible and they get 3 years and you're like, only 3 years. Yeah. And I agree. They probably did deserve more based, whatever. But 3 years is a long time. Yeah. It's a long time to be locked up. 4 hours wasn't fun. I don't know how long you were in handcuffs and locked up, but.
Not long.
No.
Yeah, I didn't have my mom throw me out. I had
they just did to scare you, basically.
Yeah. I was 16.
Okay.
But,
you little criminal.
Yeah. I think I had like a weird klepto phase because all the girls in high school were doing it. So I just wanted to fit in. Right. But I'm like, I have the money to buy it. Why don't I just fucking do it? So I was am I doing it for the thrill? Yeah. And I didn't really feel like a thrill of it. Anyways, I felt more fucking like meltdown than.
I had a period where I did it for the thrill.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out now.
Razor blades. Yeah. For the thrill and just principle. Yeah. They shouldn't be $38 for razor blades. Fuck you. I'm taking them. No good. Shouldn't have been that. Right. Yeah.
Yes, I was trying to figure out. I'm like, why was I stealing? I'm like, I could afford the stuff. Right. So I thought it was for the thrill.
Lindsay Lohan had that problem. I tried to do
it just for fun.
Lindsay Lohan?
Nothing.
Lindsay Lohan was like shoplifting, right? Or not for Lindsay Lohan.
It's like kleptomania.
No, not her.
Paris Hilton?
No. Shit. I'll have to DM you. Do you know what I'm talking about? No. Oh, well, podcast gone sour. I don't know. Can't think of her. I can having a brain fart. I can picture her. Winona Ryder. Do you even know who that is?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So that's so funny that, it's like the things that you do for thrills. Like, is that what Action Junkeez came about?
Well, it's funny. But what I've learned, so this is the biggest thing I've learned from doing the show. I'm not an action junkie. I don't know why I named it that. I'm not. I won't skydive. I won't bungee jump. I won't ride a motorcycle.
You almost died over a grasshopper.
Go hiking. I'm afraid of grasshoppers. I mean, how badass of an action junkie can I possibly be? I'm afraid of bugs. Okay? Yeah, I'm not an action junkie. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was. I'm not. Yeah.
So why that name? It's just...
So the action term for me was gambling. Mm-hmm. So with gambling, they'll say like, oh, I like the action of gambling. So it was more of a gambling term for me than like an actual... like I'm not a thrill seeker.
Oh,
I'll drive a fast car, but I'm not getting on a motorcycle. No fucking chance.
You're like, I have boundaries. Thanks.
Yeah, no way. I'm not getting on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I won't fly on a helicopter.
Oh.
I'm not afraid to fly. I'll fly in a plane.
Yeah.
I won't go in that little bullshit plane.
Yeah, the little chicken coop shit.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Well, that's so funny. I'm learning so much about you.
I'm boring, actually. I shouldn't be. I should host boring junkies. Yeah. Yeah. You know? Melatonin junkies. Serotonin junkies. Whatever it is. Yeah. Boring.
I always thought it was just about like action take, because a lot of people, I think they attach the guests to the name of the podcast. Which a lot of time is not, or it is. Yeah. Right? So it's kind of hard. They're like, oh, I don't know if I've touched on fit and frugal. I'm like, no, that's just my thing. It doesn't have to be your thing. It's my thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's funny you bring that up. When you do ask people to be on, do they ask you what's the topic? Yeah. I get so many people that ask that, and I'm always like, nothing. It's just casual chat. Yeah. They're like, yeah, but what's the topic? I'm like, there's no topic. Like,
I try to ask now in this series of like, what do you want to, like, what do you love talking about? Because a lot of people that I've had in the first 20 or something, they're like, oh, you know, I would have loved to talk about this. I'm like, then tell me, communicate. Right. Like, tell me.
You've already done 20?
Yeah, I think this is 19, 20, right?
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm working on past that first hump. Yeah. Of when people quit. I'm like, I ain't going to be a little bitch. I'm not going to quit.
No, don't quit. Yeah. This is what you do. Can't quit.
And yeah, so I thought it was funny how people were like, oh, like, do I talk about fitness? Do I talk about what? And I'm like, well, I choose you for a different reason. It's just the vibe. And I think it brings a different light, because I don't want 20 people talking about the exact same thing. That's so fucking boring. Right. Like, I don't need to sit here and listen to 20 guys talk about how they eat 200 grams of protein. Like, fuck you, dude. Right. I'll ask you off.
Have you been on Sex, Lies, and Lawyers? It's a podcast at our studio. The attorney that David Kohlmeyer works with, Sam Hadari, it's his show. And I booked the guests for that show. We need to have you on there. You'd be great. Yeah. When I booked the guests for that show, they're always like, so sex, what's the sex part? And then what's the lies part for the segment? I'm like, no. It's just the name of the show. Like,
it's just catchy.
It just sounded catchy. Like, you don't have to talk about sex, lies, or lawyers if you don't want to. I don't care what you talk about. Yeah. Just go pick a lawyer's brain for an hour, and it's going to be free. Do it that way.
I think Lana and I are going to swap next.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but I'm starting a different series just for girls, because I want to do darker stuff. Okay. So it's going to be like confessions of a blah, blah, blah. So she's going to talk about her story. I have a friend that's going to talk about her rape survival story. Like, I want to have meaningful content in terms of the things that people don't want to talk about. And I feel like if I can contribute to their world, giving them that space to hold space for them to share that story, I think it's more important for me. If that's my calling in life, might as well do it and be of that service to that person, right? And,
it's great.
And I think, and me and Lana, I went on Leslie's, and Lana was like, dude, we're a fucking riot together. I'm like, I don't know if 3 of us should be out in public together, dude. That's like, one of us is going to get arrested or end up on a roof somewhere. Yeah.
There's a new show at our studio called Stripped. And a stripper does it. Yeah. And it's fantastic. Like, her stories, and her name's Whitney Nunez. And just really interesting stories, and just hearing it, you know, from that perspective is really cool. You know, and how the different stages, like, she did it out of necessity. Her husband died, and so she had a kid, and like, she needed money ASAP. Kind of like what you were saying, like, you know, well, how can I make money fast? And that made sense for her, you know. And just seeing, again, it goes back to like everyone's struggle. Like, you never know what someone's going through, you know. It's just we do what we have to do.
And it's more, I feel like, empowering to actually understand the reasoning behind the choices, because it helps you connect with humanity better.
For sure.
Not just for money, because a lot of people do things for money that they're probably not proud of. Like, I've been there, you know, like I bartended for 10 years. Like, the shit I went through as a bartender, that's why I wanted to give myself the platform to go through that healing with certain women that also went through that same journey that traumatized them, you know? And it's the shit that we have to go through to become who we are. Like, now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, I have a voice that I never used. Because I was so conditioned to be this other person that I thought I had to be to become successful. I'm like, I wasn't fucking successful. Like, all that fucking money meant nothing to me. Like, I still feel like shit. I don't want to wake up. And it's just like, once you take yourself to that emotional rock bottom, you just want to do something that actually have value. Like, I wake up excited. I'm like, I get to talk to fun people today. And like, they're my friends. And what you said, right? Like, I used to feel really, not shy, but like I don't know if I can ask this person or whatever, but it's really unlearning those really negative patterns that I've had in my behaviors of like, oh, I don't know if they're like close enough for me to ask or whatever, right? But you never know. Like, strangers have been a lot more kind to me than my friends. Like, the best life that I've had now in the last year, it's mostly from strangers. None of my friends and family really support what I'm doing. They don't know what I'm doing, you know?
Why?
I just don't think it's explained well in my culture of like, this is what I'm doing now versus, you know, the whole college dropout thing. Why'd you drop out of college? Why'd you get a college degree? Not even use it? And it's that whole stigma that has to be removed from our identity as women.
What do they think you're doing now?
My mom knows I do real estate investing.
Okay.
I can't really explain a podcast without sounding like I'm doing porn. You know, because then sometimes she'll call me. I'm like, I'm filming. She's like, what? I'm like, hey, I'm filming today. I'll call you back in like 6 hours. She's like, what? So it's just a lot of identities and that you have to shed and kind of unlearning part of who you are and part of who I really am. It's always a journey, right? So when I meet people like yourself that I just feel like they're they get it. The bug like,
oh my God. It's a small one. I won't freak out over that one.
Swallow it, John.
Can't do it. That's happened. That's brutal.
Swallowed a bug?
Yeah, by mistake. Like,
on purpose?
No, of course not. Like, just like,
did the bug call you daddy?
No, like I think I was at a Dodger game and I was like a home run. I was screaming. There was fucking gnat flew into my mouth and instantly shut me up and ruined the home run.
Swallow a bug. Making your fucking master.
Terrible.
But so that's kind of what I found myself aligning to in the past, I don't know, 6 months that I really gave it my all and like really fueled my self-belief and give me the self-validation that I always seek from other people, all these approval and all of these things. I'm like, you know, I might be going somewhere with this, I might not, but I just don't want to die with regret. Like, bringing it back to working with the hospice, and I talk to a lot of old people, hey, what are your regrets and stuff? They're like, do everything that you want to do because you don't want to wake up in this bed, like in the hospice, they're dying. Like, they know this is their last bit of life, and like, you just don't want to be me and have so many regrets not spending time with my family. That's the number one thing. Or not being who I know I'm capable of because I stuck to like a traditional role and I'm miserable all my life just to be an engineer, just to be whatever their role was. You know, just the level of success. They're like, trust me, like, you can make 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, but if you're laying on your deathbed, like filled with regrets, like that's the life that you know you wasted. And those are some of the lessons that I've learned at 16, but I didn't really utilize because I'm like, fuck this. I'm just going to party and you know, drink all day and fucking do coke all weekend and YOLO and have no really sense of purpose or anything. So I think that was, you know.
I can't picture you like that.
Really?
No, I really can't. Like, I get that you've got a lot of personality and stuff, but I can't picture you just like completely off the rails. But you were at one point.
At one point.
Yeah.
Try to get my back life together too. But I think the alcohol addiction really helped. Tied me down. Those identities. And I think that's just something that I've had to let go of.
I'm lucky I never had that. I never had drug or alcohol addiction. That would be rough. Shaking that. The last, I think 9 months is just trying to stay sober. And I think in the last 3 months, I finally accepted. Like, it's not just for health reasons, but like, this is who I am. Like, I never should have drank that much. And I worked on that healing, that trauma, and all of these things that started in childhood. I started drinking like really young. Really?
It's
what's young?
12, 13.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's really young. when I first found drugs and alcohol.
Really?
That was middle school.
Wow.
So I went through some shit, coming here at 10 years old, and it was just me and my mom, immigrant mom, dirt poor, fled Virginia. We were going to get trafficked and like...
Really?
Yeah. So, like leaving everything behind, I was never attached to like money or anything. So it's like growing up, I didn't really have a good relationship with it. It was just a thing, right?
Yeah.
Do in exchange for life.
Right.
Up until now that I understand the true value of like being alive and all of these things that you tie yourself to. And yeah. So it's been a journey, man. It's like, like people are like, oh, you can't have that bad of trauma. I'm like, I'm not saying mine's bad. I'm just saying it was bad for me.
Right.
Being an only child and.
That's a lot. Yeah. Just that's a lot.
Reparenting, yeah. Like holding my mom's trauma and all of these other, Asian culture things that we have to carry with us too. So, yeah. So that's the platform that I wanted to give myself and have other people share their story, Yeah. Yeah. Especially for women, it's just, they get a little too sassy, then it's like, oh, like you're a bitch and you're, but yeah. Yeah.
Being a woman seems hard. No, it does. There's so many things that I think when you're a guy, you don't really think about. Like whenever I see like just a woman in the Smith's parking lot at night, it's like, I feel like you guys have to be switched on more than we are, probably, right? Like just because you never know, like, right? Or just, or if a guy walks up to me at the gas pump and he's asked for spare change, it doesn't really trigger anything for me. I'm not nervous, but when I think of like, God, that guy's gonna go and ask a girl, like I always think of like if it's my mom or Vanessa. Vanessa's the pint-sized warrior. She's like 4'11" and a half. Like
pint-sized warrior.
Like like it's a different.
Yeah.
You guys have to have your guard up all the time.
That's why a lot of women are so in their masculine, because we're always in defense mode and always trying to protect ourselves. Like, when did I have my CCW? 2016 or something like that? They're like, what's a woman got to carry a gun for? I'm like, you don't know where I work. I work in dive bars. I work events. I carry like thousands of dollars of cash every night. And sometimes I go to the ATM alone. I've been followed home. I've been, like sexually, whatever, like touched and just groped and all of these things that are very microaggressive behaviors that built on over years that you become hardened over, right? So you weren't really allowed to be soft, because once you're soft, like you're vulnerable, and that's how the devil's gonna get you, you know? So that's kind of how I learned to unwire from all of that stuff too. It's like your choices and your health, the health of your relationship changes because of you. So that's what I'm hearing, right? It's just like how often do you go shoot? Like, do you go to the range a lot, or
no?
Not as much as I would like to. It's part of being frugal. I'm like, it's just a really expensive hobby.
I know. But it's also, but don't look at it like a hobby. I mean, you definitely want to make sure you're comfortable
with my gun. I clean it.
That's good.
I'm happy with it. I don't live where I used to live. I don't have the lifestyle that I used to have, so I'm not in the same amount of fear. Right. Like now that.
Sure. But even in your car, I mean, someone can follow you. I mean, you do carry though, right? Like.
Depends on the day.
Part.
Yeah. I rotate. Sometimes a knife, sometimes mostly it's pepper spray. It's,
Fuck that pepper spray. Keep that fucking gun on you at all times. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Keep that gun.
Yeah. So it's just that I think once people hear other women's story and how we're so fear-ridden all the time, like, you shouldn't be living like that, and it's always.
It's a game changer, right? When like when you go to bed at night, if you heard some crazy sound of glass breaking or someone breaking into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, the difference of being at the mercy of 911 to hopefully someone's going to come, which it's never going to be, it's going to be too late no matter what, versus fuck around and find out, right?
And in California, you couldn't fuck around and find out, because if you shoot someone on your property...
Yeah, they make it so hard.
You can't.
Yeah.
And I think...
But just knowing, like, at least I have something, and, but you also have to remember, just having the gun doesn't mean you're automatically going to win this exchange, whatever it is, you have to be aware of that. But just knowing, like, I have the ultimate level setter, right? I have the ultimate...
You can control your destiny.
Right.
Yeah, but just like you said, glass breaking too, like, why I grew up more paranoid is because I've been burglarized so many times as a kid too.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
When I lived on my own, when I lived with my parents, it doesn't really matter. So that sense of safety was something that I always tried to control. So I understand that growing up, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm wired to be really, people call it paranoid. I'm like, no, I just like to know
switched on.
My surroundings. Like, this is why I'm sitting here.
Right.
And not in that chair. Because there's a door.
Put me here. Great.
Put you here because you can be the shield.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Is today a carry day at least? So at least I have a shot here, you know?
But, you know, it's just, so like aligning with people that kind of understanding that path of creating an intentional life on how I want to live on my own terms, create my own safety. It's kind of hard for a lot of women that can't.
Right.
It's a circumstantial thing. They stay in toxic relationships for financial means.
It's terrible.
Kids, you know, and all of these things that we can create, but we can't because we're stuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to create that generational thing with.
Sadly, I've helped countless female friends over the last 20 years get out of abusive relationships because these guys know exactly what they're doing. They get you to quit your job. They get you to, they will eventually get you to separate from your friends and not be as social and then become completely dependent on the guy for money. And even like, you should sell your car. You don't need a car. Like we should just have one car. I'm always with you. You know what I mean? They will systematically do things. Yeah. There are straight up predators controlling men that they're abusive and they know how to win that exchange because they know if you quit your job and you rely on me for money and I take away your car, but they do it in a way that it's like, don't you want to just save them? Let's get rid of the car. Let's just save money for a year. Just, you don't need a car payment. We're always together. You can take my car whenever you want a car. You know what I mean? They'll sell you a life plan that just sounds good.
Oh my God.
But you don't realize you're getting manipulated into giving up all of your freedoms.
Yeah.
So that now you're relying on him and then you can't leave. Or so you think you can't leave.
I think that's what they call grooming, right? Like narcissists.
Yeah. You know.
They do that. They groom this person to be this person.
Yeah.
Dependency or codependency or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, they know, like, you know, if you don't have a job, you don't have any money, you don't have any transportation, and I slowly get you, like, you know, they'll even strip you from your friends because they'll pick on your girlfriends, like, she's no good for you, she's a little slutty, she's this one's a user, whatever it is, and they literally, you must have some girlfriends that, like, when they're in a relationship, they're totally different, right? A lot of times it's because they're getting controlled by the guy.
Yeah, their boyfriends won't let them hang out with me.
Right.
Who are you with? Why are you Tawni? Why are you grabbing dinner? You should be home. I'm like, I haven't seen her in like 6 months, but all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going to take her and sell her at the show.
It's terrible. And then they feel stuck, you know?
That's hard to...
They feel like they can't. It's so overwhelming and scary to leave and start over. And like, how would I do it? How, you know? Yeah. And they're like paralyzed. They can't move. They can't get out.
Yeah. And these are like the pimps that...
Not even just pimps. I just mean abusive boyfriends. I just mean he's an alcoholic or he's just jealous and controlling or whatever it is. And they know how to manipulate the girl so that they basically just follow orders. You know?
Holy shit.
Sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. That's another really good topic that we can touch on.
Yeah.
On the other series too. I think that's a really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Highlight healthy relationships and these things that women are tied to.
Right.
Which is mostly financial means. Right. So financial literacy for women is so important.
Yep.
Because I think traditionally you're just raised to be dependent on a man.
Yeah.
It's nice to be taken care of, don't get me wrong, but there's still...
You got to have your own stuff happening too.
Yeah. Autonomy is important.
Yeah.
You know.
It's healthy.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
Because two people that come together with the same creative mind, that want the same growth, the same wealth, can still do different things, just aligned in the same values for life, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that got me thinking, man.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, we went through some wild...
I know.
It's always a roller coaster with you, John.
Right?
Sean's just laughing at us.
He says, keep going.
Yeah. But, you know, so when you go through all of those life changes with your friends, like your girlfriends, right? Like, how do they turn their life around from that?
Some don't, sadly.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, when I had the PR firm, we handled at one point, maybe at our peak, I don't even know, let's call it 50 models.
Yeah.
and or actresses, you know, and it's amazing how many become reliant. I can't tell you how many restraining orders I personally driven a girl down to a police station, files a restraining order, and I've gone to serve it myself. I couldn't even tell you how many times. 15, 20 times, you know, over 10 years when we had the PR firm.
Yeah.
They get with some of these guys and they're just, you know, they're just controlling, jealous and controlling.
Yeah.
What's
the craziest backlash of any of these guys that you've had to deal with?
I won't say her name on camera, but a super famous girl's ex-boyfriend was dating a girl that we were doing PR for. Well, I shouldn't even say that. We never even started doing PR for her because he called the meeting. So we were really good at, back in the day, like when you had like Maxim, Stuff Magazine, and FHM, those, and then Playboy, like those four, but obviously the first three, no nudity. Yeah. We handled those kind of girls, and we would get those kind of girls like on the cover or featured inside or on like the Maxim calendar. I can't tell you how many girls I've gotten in the Maxim calendar or on the cover of the Maxim calendar over the years. Again, this is back from like 2001 to 2010. This one guy in particular, he was a talent manager, and he dated a really famous girl, broke up with her, and then was dating this girl that wanted us to represent her. And so she comes in and meets with us, and she's like, my boyfriend's going to pay for the bill, da-da-da-da-da. This is like monthly retainer, like $2,000 to $3,000 a month at that time. He called me separately, and he said, so what are you going to charge? And I think it was $2,500. And he literally said to me, I'm going to pay you $5,000, but I don't want, so he's going to double it. I'm going to pay you double, but I don't want you to get her most of those things you said, meaning I get you to movie premieres, I get you on red carpets at like charity events and all this stuff. Right. He didn't want her mingling with people. So he's basically like saying, I'm going to pay you double, but I want you to be shitty at your job.
Oh, fuck.
Get her just enough so that she feels like something's happening. But like that whole, like you making her the next so-and-so, don't worry about that.
And all that.
Don't need all that. Like, throw her a little something here and there, but you know, and I was literally, we were in his office in Hollywood, me and my partner, and Gio was my partner, the PR firm.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, are you serious right now? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. First of all, like, I take pride in what I do as being the best. Job. So like, I'm not going to not do my job well to make you happy because you're jealous. Like, no. Like, you got the wrong, I'm not the right fit. So we didn't do it.
Yeah. Did you take the money?
No, I'm saying we didn't. No.
At all?
No. So I had to tell her, hey, we've actually just got too many clients right now. It's bad timing.
Hire her as a client?
Before she ever started.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, she calls me up crying. I remember I was at a place, you lived in LA. Or did you go to Hollywood a lot? Or at any point, the Sunset Room? Do you remember the Sunset Room?
Kind of, yeah.
Sunset and Ivar. It was like a hot spot restaurant, and then it turned into like a club after dinner. And I remember it was Gio's birthday, so it was like January 13th, and it was a rainy night, and we're there having fun, and she keeps calling me and calling. So finally, I'm in the club. It's too loud, so normally I just send it to voicemail. So I answer the phone, and she's crying and hysterical. She's like, he beat me up. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. I'm like, where are you right now? And wherever she was, I said, jump in a cab. I'll pay for it. Yeah. When you get here, come to the Sunset Room. So she says, okay. So I call the police and say, hey, I've got a client, she's got domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. So the police come, because I wanted her to file a report, you know? So she gets there and she's hysterical, and they sent, LAPD sent me 2 female cops, which was, I didn't ask for that, but it was actually great, because like they probably figured that made sense, right? Yeah. Or maybe it was a coincidence, I don't know. But so I remember sitting in the back of the police car, and they were like, you have to press charges and file it, and we'll get you a temporary restraining order. It was a Friday night, so like the judge, you know, normally you wouldn't see the judge till Monday, but we're going to get an emergency temporary restraining order so that you know, blah blah blah. And so they were like, do you have anyone that can serve it? And I was like, I'll fucking serve it. So I remember she stayed at Gio's house that night, and then the following morning, she called me and she was like, hey, don't serve it. I'm going to go back. And I was like, are you out of your mind? Do not go back to him. Like, that's crazy. Like, no, don't do this. Like, you know, stay strong. And then he kept calling her, And I remember I took the phone out of her hand and I just went off on this guy. Like, you motherfucker. Like, you know, who are you to fucking punch a girl? Like, literally punched her, you know? And so I told him, I was like, dude, I'm coming down to your house and I'm going to serve you this restraining order and we're done. We're going to be done with this, you know? He's like, I'm not going to be at home, whatever. It was going back and forth. And then she was hysterical and she talked me out of doing it. And then she went back.
She like, I love him. Go change and all that stuff.
Went back to him. And then eventually she got away from him. But like, I think she did another, maybe another year. Did that.
Was he loaded? Was he really rich?
He had money. Yeah.
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 So she stayed for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a
sad.
When I
It's
hear
sad
stories
to watch it happen, and it's so common.
Yeah.
It's so common. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like now there's more strong women though. Now I feel like maybe social media just amplifies that they exist, but I feel like there's more and more women like standing up for themselves since like the Me Too movement and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that I think is bullshit. Like a lot of it, like, you know, I think it went a little too far. Like, you know,
rage there.
Yeah, and I just think like, you know, you're as a guy now, you're demonized for shooting your shot. Like, you know, this like harassment and there's this new term like unwanted sexual advance. Like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, do you know, like I get it, but like we don't know till we know. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't, like in the workplace or whatever, like, you know, a guy works with a bunch of girls, whatever, and there's one that he's attracted to and he shoots his shot. He's not a bad person for trying to ask someone on a date, but to turn that into an unwanted advance, like, come on. Like,
unless he like randomly whips out his dick in the hallway.
Right.
And, like, suck on this.
Right. You know, or if he does it and you say, hey, I'm not interested, you know, and he keeps at it, okay. But like first time, like, come on. Like, give me a break. That's not, that sucks too.
Like
cool.
The dating pool is so.
I would hate to be single now. Like, how would you do it? It'd be scary, right?
Yeah. It's like, how are people dating when?
How do they do it?
All these fucking stories and
you'd be afraid, right?
And you're just like, I'm just gonna chill in my happy relationship.
Yeah.
Good luck out there.
Right. Like, does a guy pick a girl up for a date anymore or no? Like,
no, because
which I get.
You give him your real address.
You wouldn't want that now. Like, I agree, but like when I think of how it was, like. When I was like,
you can't court a girl
16 on up, like you'd go to the girl's house, pick her up. Now I don't even think you'd even think to ask her for her, like, you know better. Like, she's not going to give you her address. Like, it's actually crazy when you think about it.
Because I would never give anyone my address.
Right.
Like, I barely want to take Ubers.
Right.
You know,
that's the other thing. Like, like going back to like, you know, things that we take for granted, like to get into an Uber has to be scary, like at night for a girl.
Yeah, like if I'm at an event and like someone else drove, that's why I always drive, because I need to control my time. Yeah. And I love controlling when I'm able to leave. Yeah. Once my battery runs out,
it's the night's over.
What time it is, I'm like, like I don't even say bye. I just like I could buy that shit. I just like dip to the bathroom, I pee, and I get the fuck out.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. When sometimes Vanessa for work, she has to go to like these outings at the nightclubs. So she works at Wet Republic in the day club. You know, sometimes they have to go to like Omni on a Wednesday night or whatever. And if she wants to drink, like usually I'll just bring her there and I'll just play poker. Like, it's because I can play. Obviously I like to play poker, so it's a good like free pass to play. Rather than her taking an Uber, because it's just like it's not worth it. It's too dangerous. Like if I know she's coming home in an Uber at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not gonna fucking sleep. I'm gonna be fucking panicked about the Uber. You know, it's like, what's the big deal? Like,
I know some boyfriends of like strippers who they come pick up their
It's the way it should be. Like, that
should be.
You got to do it. It's not worth.
Let's drive, but the driving thing, I guess I would not feel mentally safe at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You know, it's different for a guy. So yeah, you did say you take that safety thing for granted. A lot of girls, like, we're like looking behind our shoulders, and
girls that park in parking garages drives me nuts.
Yep.
In this city, valet's not really free everywhere like it used to be out here. Valet used to be free everywhere. Caesars, everywhere. Yeah. Now they charge. Now I think the Stations casinos, it's still free, like Red Rock or something. But like. Man, it's worth it. Just valet that bitch. Like, don't fucking end up in a parking garage, in an elevator, it's not worth it. Yeah. It's you're playing with fire for no reason.
Saying that as a man that live in Vegas.
Yeah.
The shit that we have to go through just to feel secured guess, in a setting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Just me and Vanessa, like, does she bartend or
cocktail bottle service.
Yeah, like I love hospitality girls. We have so many fucking stories.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Yeah, I've heard some crazy stories from what goes on over there. Nothing like crazy bad, just like even just the money, the amount of money that some guys have that's that disposable that they could just fire off $50K, $80K, $100K to have 10 friends drink at a day club.
Yeah.
Is amazing to me.
Yeah, and for us, we're like, fuck, we gotta work for that shit, dude.
Like, it's just no big deal to them.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, like, I wonder what their lifestyle's like, you know? Because you would think, like, what do you do that you can wake up on a Saturday and blow $80K?
Before dinner.
For
like, just
6 hours.
Fucking around, yeah. They had a guy, I don't know what he does for a living. They had a guy come in, this was like in 2019. He came in at 5 o'clock. They close at 6 p.m., Wet Republic. Came in 5 o'clock on a Saturday, I think. He spent $1.2 million in an hour. He literally was like, I'll take all the alcohol. And like started just giving it to people at the club. Like, I'll take all the alcohol. Whatever you got, I'll buy.
So he's paying like for everyone's tabs pretty much?
Paid for everybody.
I mean, that's a good humanitarian move.
Sure, but like $1 million.
But yeah.
And here's the funny thing, like with a guy like that, obviously it is money, do whatever you want. But like, if I pitched that exact guy and I didn't know him, the exact guy, hey, I want to open a bunch of these podcast studios. I want to open 20 of them that I own myself all over the country. And we've got this podcast everywhere, whatever. I need $1 million. He would turn me down probably, wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
He would turn me down. But he would then later that same day go to Wet Republic or any club and spend $1 million.
Yeah.
In an hour.
Because it's so crazy now that you see how people spend money.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you said, like an angel investor is what I'm hearing that you want to invest in your business, like a passive investor.
Yeah.
Versus someone that just decides to be fucking Robin Hood of the day club. Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird how some people just, but I guess, you know, if you got the money, you just do whatever the fuck you want. I guess so.
Yeah. No, I kind of really enjoy that. Actually, that's a really good story. 1.2. What would you do with 1.2 mil in an hour? If I was to hand you,
I wouldn't be on bottles of alcohol. Like, it's like just crazy. Like, it's so crazy. Like, you don't even drink it. Like, it's for other people spraying it.
Yeah.
You know, champagne sprays. And all
blowing
that.
money.
Just blowing money.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you rather, like, I don't know. I mean, I get, and it does, just because what I would say I would rather do with it doesn't mean he doesn't do that too. Right? But like, wouldn't you rather just get more of a thrill? Just go into Denny's and order fucking pancakes and give the waitress 30 grand and then go, you know what I mean? And just start giving away that fucking million in random acts of kindness. But again, he might do that too. I don't know. I don't even know the guy. I never met him. I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know his name. I just know that there was a guy that did this, you know? But, man, I would have so much fun doing that. I mean, I pulled up you're starting to see more and more homeless guys at the freeway exits now, right? And I was on my way to play poker. Whenever I'm coming on my way or coming back from the casino, I usually try to tip super nice or do something because I just feel like it's good karma for it hasn't worked lately in the poker tournaments, but sooner or later it will.
Or you give, or you get.
Yeah. And I was getting on the freeway at 215 in Rainbow. And I was at the light, and there was a guy there, and he had a sign that said, you know, veteran, whatever. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't fucking know, you know. But I rolled down my window. I gave him $20, and he took it, and then he looked at it, and just the look on his face, he was so happy because he probably figured it was $1, you know. And just the look on his face, like, it's so worth it. Like, you feel so good. You know what I mean? Like, it's $20. It's not a big deal for me, but for him, like, it's a better meal. It's better, whatever it is. It's a lot less.
That's like a week of living for some people.
Like, right. Like, you know, it's like, wouldn't you rather do that with the $1 million? But again, maybe that guy does that too. I don't know. But, you know, I'd rather
share what we think on how he's spending his money in an hour. It's probably a slice of his life. Or we don't want to think that someone's having a miserable time and that's the only time they can fill the void.
Right.
Is to have absolute control of an arbitrary thing, which is digits in a bank account.
Yeah.
Because it's not real money. Like, unless you're physically touching it and
right.
it, like, money to me is just a number.
Yeah. And like that same guy, and again, maybe he does all these things, so I don't know. But like that same guy certainly has 5 close friends that if you gave $200,000 to, you'd change their fucking lives, man. Yeah. And you'd see it rather than just fucking it off on Grey Goose. Like, what are you doing? You know, but again, maybe he does that thing, you know, maybe he does that too, and I don't even know. Maybe that guy's all his friends are balling or whatever. I don't know, but just seems like
we can be friends with this guy.
Yeah, right? I know. I wish I could hang out. I know. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I hate that place.
Need a friend like that, right?
Never been to a day club before.
No?
No.
It's so hot.
It's just not my...
It's not my thing.
Yeah. That's not the Vegas lifestyle that
I'm not a big club guy to begin with, really. I like the music, but I don't like the whole... I
don't like that the DJ starts at midnight. It's usually when I'm deep in bed already. I'm in bed by 9. So for me to physically get ready at 9 o'clock to get to the club by like 11:30, it just doesn't make sense for me.
Do you like EDM?
I love EDM.
Okay, so were you a Deadmau5 fan back in the day?
Yes.
Okay, so it was probably one of my favorite DJs ever, right? So I come to Vegas. This is like in 2014 or something, and he's at Hakkasan. So, and I hate clubs, and I'm by myself. Literally by myself, because I used to come to Vegas a lot to gamble. This is when I lived in LA. Yeah. So I come to Vegas, I go to Hakkasan, I have buddies that work there, so I'm all like hooked up, you know, whatever. So I'm there at Hakkasan, and I was a partner in this is when I was at the tech company. So we had launched a streaming platform called Hang With. It was Instagram Live before Instagram Live. Hang with your favorite celebrity, you know. So we were. I went there because I was like, oh, I'll have Deadmau5 on my, on Hang With. It'll be cool. I'll get lots of views and everything, right? So I get there, and I didn't know that the DJ doesn't go on till 10. I mean, till midnight, right? Yeah. So I'm there at 10, and I'm there for like 2 fucking hours, and I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to be. And then Deadmau5 came late that night.
So it was like 2 o'clock.
So it was closer to 1.
Oh,
closer to 1.
Yeah.
And like they started bringing the lights down, and like you could just tell, and they had like these like the helmet, right? So they had those hanging from like the ceiling, like smaller versions of it. The lights were dim, and it was like, and I was like, oh, Deadmau5 is coming, and it said on the screen like Deadmau5. I'm in Hakkasan, so I'm on Hang With, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, I see the DJ, but there's where is he? Like he's not there yet, and then. Like nothing would happen, and then like 5 minutes would go by, and they dim the lights again, and then it'd be like Deadmau5, and like the little helmets were all lit up, but he's not there. Finally, I asked the cocktail server, I'm like, hey, where the fuck is Deadmau5? Like, is he coming? And she's like, what do you mean? He's been on for 45 minutes. I'm like, where? She's like, that's him right there. The one fucking time this motherfucker doesn't take to the stage with the helmet, he just had this thing. It's when he was dating that Cat Van, what's her name? She's all the tattoos. Cat something.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, he just had like a T-shirt that said like "Mouse loves cat" or something like that. Yeah. No fucking helmet. I felt cheated. I was like, wait, I came here for Deadmau5 in the fucking helmet.
Yeah.
And this is the time, no helmet. And he's up there.
I pre-comp for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm up there, and I'm literally broadcasting like an idiot on Hang With. I'm like, I don't know where he is. He's on the video, and I don't even know it.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Because a lot of people, like Marshmello and all that stuff. Like if you see them in real life, you wouldn't even know it's them.
Know.
Like we don't know who the fuck the anonymity of these DJs are.
Right.
And if you're not really in nightlife, like besides if it's like TS or something, I wouldn't even know half these people.
Right, what they look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. With Deadmau5, I didn't. Now I know what he looks like, but
yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Is there any like philosophies that you want to leave today with?
I don't know, man.
I think we have so much in us.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I just try to be nice to people. I always, like you said at the top of the show, you said, bring value, right? And I've been doing that my whole life with people. I always say it, frame it up. Travis at my studio, my partner who runs the studio.
Yeah.
The smart one at the studio, other than, not as opposed to me, the one that actually
that works
done and not me. Yeah. I always say to him, like, I've been what I call making deposits into people my whole life. And I rarely look to take a withdrawal from someone. Like I'm always making deposits into the people bank, just doing nice things, dot connecting for them, hooking them up with whatever it is that I have, whatever my network has, you know, whether it's an introduction or reservations at the tough restaurant or something here in town or tickets to fights or tickets to baseball games, whatever it is, that I get access to some pretty cool shit. And, you know, if people ask me, you don't even have to be one of my main people. Like if you ask me and I like you, even if I hardly know you, I'll usually try to do whatever you're asking me to do. I can't always do it, but you know, I've been selfless when it comes to that. Like long before, like I know Gary, that's a big like mantra for Gary Vee, and I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. But like when I've heard him talking about, you know, bring value and all that, and don't expect anything in return, it was like that spoke to me because it's like, dude, you just summed up my whole life for the last at least 30 years of, let's say, being, you know, in the working world or whatever. Like that's just how I roll. You know, I just always try to do things for people. And I think so many people are hung up on what is in it for me. And it's just and I get why they're wired that way, because they're trying to advance themselves, but they don't realize you will advance way quicker if you're not wired, what's in it for me? If you're more like, how can I help you? As trivial as that sounds or cliche as that sounds, you will do better in life if you're coming from the angle of like, what can I do for you? Right? Like thinking during the show, I did it, right? I'm like, I need to hook you up with Adam Clausen. I need to do that, right? It's just my nature. It's just in my nature. I don't want anything in fucking return from you. I don't need anything. And like whatever I can, it's just how I am, you know?
Yeah.
Now if Sean asked me for something, the answer is no. But, you know, but that's different. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, I think if more people were wired like that, they would see the benefits and they'd move themselves down the field a hell of a lot quicker than being transactional with people. And like, you do something for me. I was on the phone with someone the other day and he was like, I said, oh, are you going to go to the fight next week? And he was like, well, maybe, you know, if they ask, you know, I usually like for them to ask me for a favor and then I ask them. I'm like, I didn't say anything to him. I'm like, I get why he's wired that way, but like, no, it's no, because he's like, I don't want to owe them. Like, no, don't look at it like that. Don't look at it like, we all just owe each other from page one, and some will pay it back and some won't. Don't worry about it. Like just give. Don't worry about receiving, and you will end up receiving way more. Yeah. I get burned sometimes. There's people that like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, I'm always doing for you. Don't ever I can't even get you to like the fucking podcast and share the podcast post, right? But that's probably they're so overwhelmed with their life or whatever's going on that it's a simple ask that I have, but they're so in it or feel buried in whatever's going on in their life. They're in survival mode. You got to remember that sometimes too. Like, you know, people aren't doing what you would hope that they would do. They might really be fucking completely upside down, and they don't want to tell you that, or you don't realize that, you know?
And that's the true connection that some people can't be vulnerable with one another too.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to say I need help, or it's hard to say I'm buried, you know, especially now with social media. Like, we live in such a society where it's like fake it till you make it. Yeah, you know, and it's like you're seeing everyone's best representation of themselves. You know,
showing you fucking almost got eaten by a grasshopper.
I mean, these were dark times for me. These were tough. Normally, I wouldn't share that, you know, but I want people to see my struggle. I want them to realize, like, it's not all fucking rosy being Jon Orlando. I got to deal with fucking the grasshopper invasion in my fucking car, you know? This is tough to be me. Walk a mile in my fucking shoes. Try walking backwards, defending yourself as the grasshopper's coming at you. Fuck up the Travis Scotts, you know? You don't even know my struggle. You don't even know what it is to be me.
Fucking favorite. You're like, almost died.
It was awful. Sweating. It was fucking terrible. Cut up the palms on the fall. Like,
can I introduce you to my therapist? I feel like I'm still suffering from this somatic experience.
Terrible. I need to work it out on the couch. There's a little gnat in here keeps fucking with me.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
they just know.
I'm thinking, did you set me up? I'm almost thinking you knew. You
just
set me up.
A bunch of things to blackmail you. So we'll see, man.
Yeah. The fuck is going on here? He's crazy.
John, thanks for coming today.
Thank you. This was fun.
I appreciate you so much. It's so funny. We never plan shit. It's just kind of like to whatever we bring, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like your message, because doing something kind for someone doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah.
And the second is just always be yourself, you know, so you don't have to live with resentment and grow with regrets and have all these things that you're going to struggle with either way, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, Well, that's it for us today. Hopefully you got some valuable insights, or, please follow Jon. He's hilarious if you want to get his attacks from the Grasshopper.
It'll definitely be another.
Where do we find you? Action Junkeez? Or
yeah, Action Junkeez, Action Junkeez podcast. That's on Spotify.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Platform.
Check it out.
Well, it's me, Tawni on IG. Stay fit, stay frugal. Peace.